Morning Watch on Love 101. Don't go anywhere. Let's jump inside the Morning Watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
This is a special announcement from Love 101 and Love Television. Our general offices will be closed to the public on Emancipation Day, Thursday, August 1, and will reopen on Friday, August 2 at 8:30 a.m. Our offices will also be closed on Independence Day, Tuesday, August 6, and will reopen on Wednesday, August 7 at 8:30 a.m. Programs and commercials for the period Thursday, August 1 through to Friday, August 2 should be submitted by 12 noon on Wednesday, July 31. Obituaries and notices should be submitted by 1:30 p.m. on the same day to ensure scheduling for broadcast. Programs and commercials for the period Tuesday, August 6 through to Wednesday, August 7 should be submitted by 12 noon on Monday, August 5. Obituaries and notices should be submitted by 1:30 p.m. on the same day to ensure scheduling for broadcast. Love 101 and Love TV wish for you and yours an exciting and memorable holiday.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live in the first watch today. Whose land is it? And in the second watch, is Jamaica being 62 too old for our young generation to appreciate emancipendence? For our social media question, we ask, what will you be doing for the Emancipendence holiday? Share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp, 876-9973-125, using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your response later on the program, but first, as I quote.
All right, so today's I quote says, Lord of His mercy. Okay, it says, when Pug it up, in turn trouble, turn the wall. Now listen, I don't know what this just said, but the translation says, when the poor man get up, he becomes trouble to the world. Yeah.
Oh, I see. When the poor man
gets up, he becomes trouble to the world.
Trouble to the world. That sounds like a song.
Lol.
I leave that one alone. The main watch. We'll be back after this break.
To my little bird on her graduation day, my pride is swelling thinking about the future that lies ahead for you. Go see the world. Follow that passion for music you have. Find someone as amazing as your daddy. And never forget, my love for you has no end. Love always, Mommy. 5 years ago, I promised her I'd read this to you today.
Thanks, Daddy.
Your love lives on with life insurance from Sagicor. Talk to an advisor today.
Remember every dream where you have, remember everything what you plan. With
Jane Bank, anything possible with a little savings in your hand. Save so you can build the house, buy the land, what goals and dreams like a plan. Save so you can.
Living your best life and making memories is priceless, but saving little by little is what makes it affordable. Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Does your roof leak? Is your house hot? You need Lanco Cool Guard Roof Coating. Lanco Cool Guard Roof Coating uses Thermoflex technology, a tiny insulating microsphere that expands as the exterior temperature of the coating rises, preventing heat from being absorbed by the surface and reducing over 80% of all that heat inside your house. Ask for Lanco Cool Guard Roof Coating at your local hardware this summer. Lanco Cool Guard Roof Coating for a cooler house.
You want $50,000 towards back to school expenses? Enter the AM Financial Back to School promotion. Apply for any unsecured loan between $20,000 and $3.5 million and be one of 10 winners for a chance to win $50,000 towards tuition, books, anything for back to school. Apply now at loansale.aimfinancialja.com. Applications close August 23rd, 2024 with the draw date August 30, 2024. Check our social media at AIM Financial JA for more information. Authorized under Section 58C of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. The Maroons had a lot of conflicts with the British in the colonial period, and in 1738 there was a treaty signed between the Maroons and the British, and which essentially ended the conflicts. However, there has been some level of tension ever since then in terms of modern Jamaica and the relevance of this treaty. And over time, you had different views being expressed as to how important this treaty is, bearing in mind that Jamaica had gained its independence in 1962. Has generated a lot of academic interest and even legal interest. And more recently, in the last couple of days, there has been some conflict, tension, dispute in relation to the harvesting of mahogany from lands that are reputed to belong to the Maroons, or lands that the Maroons live in or live on. This is a recent incident, but it is not the first time that there has been some conflict in terms of, Maroon lands and who do the lands belong to, and even subtle issues and not so subtle issues of sovereignty. Is it coincidental that this most recent issue with the harvesting of mahogany is taking place around the time of Jamaica's own independence? Well, we have as guests this morning to discuss this very interesting, maybe troublesome issue, Anthony Williams, attorney at law, and Reverend Dr. Dave Goss, who is head of the Institute of Cultural Studies at the University of West Indies. Good morning, Reverend Dr. Goss. Good morning, Anthony Williams. How are you both?
Good morning, Stokeley, and good morning, Alexander.
Anthony.
Anthony.
Anthony, you with us. Good. Now, every time we have a discussion on the Maroons or any discussion in any forum comes up on the Maroons, I remember I was told that one of my great grandfathers was himself a Maroon from Saint Elizabeth, and I'd be told certain stories, not much, but I'd be told about him, etc. Maybe a lot of us have some Maroon blood inside of us somewhere. What does this 1738 treaty really mean in relation to modern Jamaica, which gained its independence in 1962? Starting with you, Reverend Dr. Dave Goss, because in your capacity as the head of the Institute of Cultural Studies at University of West Indies, you might have a particular background that you can share with us.
Thank you, Stokeley. But let me make a critical point first of all. That treaty in 1739 is the result of
Is it 38 or 30?
years.
Is it 1738 or
It's
1739?
1738. Well, one was also done in 1739 with the
Okay,
Windward Maroons, but that first
okay,
one is with the Leeward Maroons, right?
I see.
But
Thank
we
you.
need to go back. We need to go back. Long before the British came here, right? The Maroons, composed of both Tainos and Africans, occupied the mountains. The very name Cimarron, but that the Spanish gave them,
Yes, I
right?
see
So
that name.
there's wild people living in the mountains. Now, why they live in the mountains? Remember now that, well, shouldn't I remember, but many Jamaicans don't know that about 60,000 Tainos lived in Jamaica, surrounding Jamaica, right? The Spanish never occupied the island as the British later did. We know that a lot of the Tainos were killed in many different ways, but many escaped. The original Maroons are Tainos and Africans. Africans came here as early as 1513 with the Spanish, right? So the mountains, first of all, were occupied by the Maroons. So the treaty in 1738, the first one in 1738, is a result of the fact that the Maroons fought for their freedom for over 80 odd years, fighting for their existence. So this treaty, which is formalized, is not something that they wish to give them. They fought for it. As a matter of fact, if you study the history of the Maroons, you realize as well that many Maroons were not au fait with it. They didn't want to do it really. But having fought for over 80 odd years, you have to sometimes settle down. And so this very treaty, by the way, now, in that sense, set them up to become like an auxiliary force of the British government to further colonize the country, right? And the Maroons went along with it, did what they had to do, because as far as they're concerned, this was their land, right? So that treaty is a formalized version of what they
Let me ask a
lived
quick.
for over so many years.
Let me ask a quick question, Dr. Goss, only because of time. Did that treaty actually declare, or those treaties, did that or those treaties actually make a declaration concerning the lands that the Maroons occupied, and if so, what was that declaration?
All right, I'm looking at Article 3 of the one with the Leeward Maroons, and it says that they shall enjoy and possess for themselves and posterity forever all the land situate and lying between Trelawney Town and the cockpits, to the amount of 1,500 acres bearing northwest from the said Trelawney Town.
Okay, stick up in, you
So
said, and posterity forever. Let's bring in
forever, right?
Anthony Williams. Anthony Williams, attorney at law. Your thoughts, sir, in terms of the matter of the lands that the Maroons occupy in Jamaica. Does that legally, in your view, in light of Jamaica's constitution, create some kind of sovereignty in relation to the Maroon lands? Because as far as I understand anyway, all of Jamaica belongs to one sovereign state. I don't know of two, but anyway, Anthony Williams, what are your thoughts? Mr. Williams? Think we're not hearing him at the moment. Well, you heard the point I just made, Dr. Dave Goss. As far as I'm aware, Jamaica is one sovereign state. There are no two Jamaicas in the legal sense. Well, you know what, Dr. Goss, think about what I just asked, because I gather we are now upon a break. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
This is a special announcement from Love 101 and Love Television. Our general offices will be closed to the public on Emancipation Day, Thursday, August 1, and will reopen on Friday, August 2 at 8:30 a.m. Our offices will also be closed on Independence Day, Tuesday, August 6, and will reopen on Wednesday, August 7 at 8:30 a.m. Programs and commercials for the period Thursday, August 1 through to Friday, August 2 should be submitted by 12 noon on Wednesday, July 31. Obituaries and notices should be submitted by 1:30 p.m. on the same day to ensure scheduling for broadcast. Programs and commercials for the period Tuesday, August 6 through to Wednesday, August 7 should be submitted by 12 noon on Monday, August 5. Obituaries and notices should be submitted by 1:30 p.m. on the same day to ensure scheduling for broadcast. Love 101 and Love TV wish for you and yours an exciting and memorable holiday.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first watch. We're looking at the topic, whose land is it? Whose land is it? Our guest, Reverend Dr. Dave Goss, head of the Institute Cultural Studies, University of West Indies, and Anthony Williams, attorney at law. We were having a bit of a challenge before the break, in terms of hearing Mr. Williams. I hope we have had that resolved now. But Reverend Dr. Dave Goss, you were responding to an issue that I raised in terms of, legally speaking, as far as I am aware, there's only one Jamaica. I don't know of two. I do not know of two. So I don't know of a sovereign country of Maroon land or lands occupied by the Maroons as one sovereign country vis-a-vis the rest of Jamaica. But we're all here today to explore the issue because of recent events. Reverend Dr. Dave Goss, please continue.
Yes. So let me know. Highlight the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, signed on September 13, 2007. Now, the Maroons in Jamaica, they're not the only sovereign group that have had problems with governments.
Sovereign
right?
group? Hold on, stick up
Yes,
in. You have said
yes,
other
I'm
things, you know.
saying that.
You
Yes, I'm
mentioned
saying that.
indigenous. You said indigenous. Now you're saying sovereign group. Can you please
No.
take your time and unravel this? Don't assume you
No.
know what you mean. Continue.
Yeah, what I'm saying that these treaties are treaties that have been signed not just by the Maroons of Jamaica, but
Yes.
across South America and part of the Caribbean. Now,
Okay.
the United Nations in their declaration acknowledge the fact that all these indigenous groups are in a sense sovereign in terms of the treaty, the geographical area that was issued in the treaties, that so in a sense the Maroons then in a sense they are a state within a state, right? And then the larger state must cooperate with and give due reverence to the sovereignness of the individual state within the state. So in other words, what the United Nations Declaration did is to affirm the right of these treaties by international law, right? And there are some conventions as well, international conventions that actually affirm the sovereignness of these treaties and encourage governments to be respectful, right, to the rights of these people to be an autonomous state within a state, right?
Stick
So
up in,
the
Reverend Dr.
Maroons,
Dave Goss, only because of time. Stick up in. Very interesting that you'd mentioned some of those things. Anthony Williams, attorney at law. Can we hear you now, sir?
Okay, and Reverend Goss, and to the listeners.
Yes, good
A
morning
very
again.
interesting topic, but I don't think we can actually discuss this matter without looking very, very briefly and quickly about the history of the Maroons, because we have to understand that the Maroons...
Go ahead, Mr. Williams. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can hear me?
We're hearing you loud and clear. Go ahead, Mr. Williams. Please go ahead.
Yes. So I'm saying a little history is very important, and Reverend Goss did allude to that. we also have to understand why the Maroons entered into this treaty.
Yeah.
And they entered into this treaty because the British and the plantocracy saw the Maroons as a threat to their plantation life, their wealth,
Yes.
and their resources.
Yes.
And so what was happening is that the Maroons were raiding the plantation, they were killing off the militiamen, and they were also assisting in freeing the slaves. In order to pacify the situation, the British thought it prudent to enter into a treaty. And so the first Maroon Treaty of 1738, which contained a number of clauses, is very important. One of the clauses, I believe, is Article 3 of the treaty, stipulated that the Maroons were entitled to some acreage of land, crown land, about 1,500 acres. This was necessary for the Maroons to maintain their independence and also to pacify their relationship with the British. They also had the right to have their own laws, and so there was sovereignty for the Maroons. Yes, Jamaica has gained independence in 1962, but I think this could be treated as something like a restrictive covenant, where generations after generation would pass down and the Maroon laws would be respected. Now, the Maroons were located in the cockpit country and still are located in the cockpit country. And so there is an element of sovereignty on the part of the Maroons, and I believe that element of sovereignty should be respected.
Very interesting. Now, I don't want to I want to be extremely careful how I make any comments in relation to the recent harvesting of the mahogany, because that arguably is a matter that will be taken before the courts soon, or, well, I'm not sure yet. But having said that, let us say that what you said, Mr. Williams, they should be given a level of sovereignty. I'm trying to paraphrase. What does it say if, for example, there's an incident that takes place on Maroon territory? All right, let me just use that term for argument's sake. And you need the intervention of law enforcement. Is it that the Maroons will do their own law enforcement in terms of investigating the matter, having the matter tried, in terms of any sentencing? Or is it that the Jamaica Constabulary Force can go there, do their investigation, a matter is taken before the courts of Jamaica in whichever town or city, and the matter is tried and dealt with? What say you, Mr. Williams? In other words, when we say a level of sovereignty, what exactly do we mean?
You raise a very important point, Stokeley.
Yes.
And we have to tread very cautiously and carefully here. The reality is that based on the Maroon Treaty, and this is over 200 years, 1738 to now, the Maroons were given lands in the cockpit country. They were authorized to have their own laws, and so the real question is whose land it is. Is it the government of Jamaica's land, or is it the land of the Maroon? Now, it is tried law in Jamaica and any Commonwealth country that a person cannot be charged for stealing their own property. And I think this is where the real issue is. Is it the land of the Jamaican government or the land of the Maroons? It appears to me, Stokeley, that having regard to the terms and the condition of the treaty, that these Maroons were offered protection. These Maroons were given lands in the cockpit country. And it is very important to understand why the cockpit country was one of them, because you have two sets of Maroons, the Windward Maroons and the Leeward Maroons. And the Leeward Maroons are the ones in the cockpit country, right? So I think the government will have to tread very, very carefully. I think also having regard to the to the content, the terms, and the conditions of the Maroon Treaty of 1738 and the Second Maroon Treaty. They will just have to tread carefully and sit down with the Maroons and try and avoid this conflict. We speak about Jamaican heritage. We speak about Jamaican culture. We speak about preservation of important sites. And the Maroons form a very, very important aspect of Jamaican culture.
I want to ask a quick
one. Yeah, quickly. I cannot fathom why in 2024 we are still having a war, we are still having a fight, we are still having misinterpretations over the Maroon, the Cockwood country, and they're right. I'm flummoxed.
Were you through, Mr. Williams?
Yes, I'm true.
I want to ask a quick one. It's a very basic question. If someone is from the cockpit country and they describe themselves as a Maroon, is that distinct from being a Jamaican? So is a Maroon a Jamaican?
Yes, a Maroon in Jamaican laws is a Jamaican, but then it has a specific connotation.
Okay, stick up in, sir. Stick up in. I'm just asking some simple questions. And if the Maroon is a Jamaican, it might sound like a dumb question, but if they want to travel to the US, they go to the visa and say that I'm a Maroon. Do they say that I'm a Jamaican?
No, can I come in there, Stokeley?
You see the point I'm making, Dr. Gus.
No, but I think there's something fundamental that Anthony is saying, that we're missing, One is things that the original treaties had mechanism. For example, if someone is giving trouble in the Maroon community or outer Maroon community, right? The treaty specified how they are to be treated. The treaty was very specific, so there was no problem between the Maroons and the British, in terms of those grey areas.
Yes, but we are now in 2024.
The point I'm making now is totally that the government of Jamaica now we now have not sat down with the Maroon to work these things out.
I see.
That's the unfortunate thing, because we take the big stick approach to say that because they are Jamaican, living in Jamaica, they don't have any sovereignty for their land. We need to sit down with them and work these things out.
And you're saying you're saying that this sitting down had never taken place.
It does not
to formalize what a state within a state looks like. And those grey areas, how we work on those grey areas.
I want to ask you a quick one, Reverend Dr. Dave Goss, as the time is going. What is the definition of an indigenous person?
I mean, well, the first ever dangerous word, by the way. So let me clear that from day one first. But the first people we know more about in Jamaica, which are the Tainos, right? So, and there are people way before the Tainos, by the way. Let me make that point clear as well. That the Tainos are the first people occupying Jamaica. There are people long before the Tainos. But the Tainos are the people who the Spanish came and saw, right? So as far as we are concerned, they are the original indigenous people of the land. And the Africans are part of that because they too were here even before the British came. So, in a sense, those original Africans and Tainos are the original person who controlled the land of Jamaica.
So you're saying, and I've heard it before, you're saying that Africans came here before the British. Well, weren't those the ones brought back the Spaniards, or you're saying that Africans came here even before the Spaniards were here?
Well, no, Africans came to the Caribbean region before that, but not just Jamaica, but the Spanish were the ones who first brought Africans in Jamaica in 1513.
Okay.
Right. In significant. Right. So they are the original people of the land.
Does that make those Africans indigenous because they were brought here from the continent of Africa?
No, but in the sense that the people who first occupied the land before the Europeans came.
I see.
Right.
Before the British.
I mean, but Stokeley, the Caribbean region, is a very old region in terms of like there are hundreds of people came through the Jamaican landscape, and the Caribbean landscape from different places, right? But the Tainos are the first that we know about, that we can talk about their culture, their civilization, their language, and all of that. So the culture, the first culture that we know about in Jamaica are the Tainos, and Africans are part of that.
I don't think we have been able to answer the question necessarily this morning. Whose land is it? Is it that the question is to be settled, Mr. Williams? Is it to be settled? Whose land is it? Or is it the Maroons?
It appears to me from
or the Jamaica or the states of Jamaica.
It appears to be from the historical nature of the settlement between the British and the Maroons that the land is in fact the property of the Maroons.
Mr. Williams and Reverend Dr. Goss, only because of time, I think this one is definitely more on this topic at another time, because we are completely out of time for this segment and the discussion is very interesting and clearly there's more to unpack. Mr. Williams, Reverend Dr. Goss, thank you so much for your time and for your thoughts.
Thank you very much.
Stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
The time by Gem Bank is
7:31.
Seniors, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security is advising that the July 2024 payment under the Social Pension Program is now ready for collection. Check your text messages to confirm your payment arrangements. For further information, call 876-922-8007 or check the Ministry's website at www.mlss.gov.jm. The Social Pension Program, caring for our elderly. A message from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Enjoy yummy for the summertime. Win big for the back to school. It's the Yummy Summer Back to School promotion. Purchase one each of these yummy products: yummy cheese bread, cornbread, jamboree, and 5-ounce buns. Write your name, address, and contact number on the back of your receipt and mail with the empty packages. Send in with your Yummy salesman or drop off at your nearest Yummy agency or entry box in participating supermarkets. Enter today and win your share of over 1.4 million in cash and prizes. Win big for the back to school. Follow us at Yummy Bakery JA for more details. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting Gaming and Lotteries Act.
You know what's sweet? The new Pack Sweet Living promotion. Win great prizes.
Bedroom set, living room set, or kitchen appliance set, plus TVs and monthly cash prizes.
Send in 5 new pack labels or a receipt. Labels must belong to at least the new pack candies, coconut milk powder, and new pack oil categories. Fill up the tagline. New pack, more than just value. Place your entry in one of the drop boxes at participating outlets. Enter by mail or online at newpackjamaica.com. Time to live sweet. Enter the new Pack Sweet Living promotion, June 16th to August 31. See the press for more details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting Gaming and Lotteries Act.
I am Megan Tapper, Olympic 100-meter hurdles bronze medalist. At 5'1", I've always been asked, how you manage to clear the hurdles so easily? Truth is, I've been overcoming hurdles all my life. How? Preparation. So I always prepare for every hurdle in life. And that's why I drink True Shake. With True Shake, I get 9 grams of protein and 24 essential vitamins. I may be short, but with True Shake, I am not short of anything.
Number 2 shake and go! Gear up the schoolers! July 15th to September 14th, Bashka's amazing back-to-school deals just for you! Buy a case of books and receive a box of pencils and pens! Don't miss special discounts on computer tables and chairs starting August 1st! That's not all! 2 lucky winners will receive a Samsung tablet or a $30,000 back-to-school shopping spree! Follow us on all socials at Bashka Jamaica for more information. Visit Bashka today and gear up the schoolers! Bashka, the store that gives you more.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And in the physical copy of the Daily Observer, we have D-Day for Vibes Cartel. Will entertainer be released or face retrial? Will entertainer be released or face retrial? Court to broadcast verdict live. This report by Alicia Dunkley Willis. We have in the Gleaner online, JDF corporal found dead along Palisados Road. We have, and I believe his name is now known as well, although it is not referred to in this Gleaner headline. We have in Loop Jamaica News, Francis referring to MVP track club coach Stephen Francis. Francis warns of relay team shortage for Jamaica in Paris. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is, what will you be doing for the Emancipendence holiday? If you haven't done so yet, leave a response or responses on our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp your comments and voice notes to 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
On the next episode of The Mailbox, we will continue the journey in the world of technology as we focus on the topic Men and Technology, Part 2. We will take a further look at men and their interaction with the virtual space. What are some of the ethical issues that must be addressed as we implement new forms of technology? Is there such a thing as AI evangelism? And what can the church do to maximize the use of technology to get more men involved? You are invited to join the conversation with Dr. Sheldon Campbell, pastor, AI author, and enthusiast on Wednesday, July 31 at 5:30 p.m. on the family station Love 101. The Mailbox is brought to you by Solid PVC Pipes, manufactured in Jamaica by Fosridge Company Limited. The Mailbox. Monday, yes.
This is a special announcement from Love 101 and Love Television. Our general offices will be closed to the public on Emancipation Day, Thursday, August 1, and will reopen on Friday, August 2 at 8:30 a.m. Our offices will also be closed on Independence Day, Tuesday, August 6, and will reopen on Wednesday, August 7 at 8:30 a.m. Programs and commercials for the period Thursday, August 1 through to Friday, August 2 should be submitted by 12 noon on Wednesday, July 31. Obituaries and notices should be submitted by 1:30 p.m. on the same day to ensure scheduling for broadcast. Programs and commercials for the period Tuesday, August 6 through to Wednesday, August 7 should be submitted by 12 noon on Monday, August 5. Obituaries and notices should be submitted by 1:30 p.m. on the same day to ensure scheduling for broadcast. Love 101 and Love TV wish for you and yours an exciting and memorable holiday.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's join Chakal now to see how our friends on social media have responded to the question, what will you be doing for the Emancipendence holiday? Chakal.
All right, so we have a response here from Cherry in Spanish Town. She says, I'll be going to church to give God thanks and praise, emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Nice quote there from the song we know and love. So yeah.
Okay, Cherry. Interesting. Well, we move right into the second watch. August 1 and August 6 are Emancipation Day and Independence Day, respectively. Jamaica will be 62 on August the 6th. And what does this mean for persons today? What does this mean for Jamaicans today? Not just Jamaicans who were around in 1962 and remember the celebrations, the whole euphoria of independence, but young persons who are only hearing about it, who to them it sounds like a distant, just an item of history, maybe to them. And so the objective of the discussion this morning is to hear from young adults, hear what they're saying about it, how important or relevant is Jamaican independence and emancipation, as the case may be. Is emancipation from slavery something they think about? Emancipation Day, August 1, Independence Day, August 6. What does it really mean to them? We have as our guests this morning 2 persons who are in a particular age band. I'll let them indicate what their ages are if they wish to. We have Dominic Johnson, a young Christian adult, as well as Daniel Dodd. Daniel Dodd, who is also a young Christian adult. Good morning, Dominic Johnson. Good morning, Daniel Dodd. How are you both?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm not doing too bad.
But you're not doing too good either? That was a joke. That was a joke. Daniel Dodd. Not hearing Mr. Dodd. Are you on the phone, Mr. Dodd? Daniel Dodd? We're trying to see if we can resolve the technological issue there or issues. Let's start with you, Dominic, whilst we try to bring in Daniel. What does our history mean to you today, Dominic Johnson? What does it mean to you?
Dominique, Mr. Marshall.
Dominique.
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 My humblest of apologies. Can you say that again for us?
So it's Dominique.
Dominique. So do not pronounce the I too much. Dominique. Okay.
Don't pronounce the I too much and don't consider the Q as C.
Okay.
So,
Dominique.
yes, that's I.
So, thank you.
No problem. Our emancipation and our independence means a whole lot to me. And as a young adult, of course, as you have rightly stated, I wouldn't have been born with all this shebang and excitement and confetti falling from probably all of the, I have no idea what was happening in 1962. But I strongly believe that it has written a note and a message to us as young adults, or for the generations to come beyond us. It has written to state that we have accepted ourselves, our identity, our culture, our people. So our emancipation is us freeing ourselves from the ideology or probably the concept of slavery. And I'm sure Daniel probably will touch more onto that, so I'm not going to touch too much into it. And our independence was spoken to us breaking free from the norms of what probably the British reign would have expected of us as one of their territories. So it does mean a lot to me as a young adult.
Well, even though we are independent, the British monarch still has his representative here in the form of the Governor General.
Yes. Right.
How does that strike you? Let me get the pronunciation. Dominique.
Yeah, me know, Sir Marshall.
1 second, Daniel. I want to see if I can have Miss Johnson comment on that last point I raised.
Oh, so you're going by Miss Johnson now? Okay, no problem. I'm not offended. That's fine.
Just to make sure. I don't have a challenge with your first name.
It's okay. It's okay. So your question was relating to how do I feel about the Governor General still representing the monarchy?
Yes.
I'm not sure I have a feeling towards that. I think you have grown to just acknowledge and accept the fact that that's his position and that's his role. However, I don't think it disputes or takes away the rights that we have garnered as a people under the independent, autonomy. So I don't think him having any relation or I don't want to use no word that will probably get me locked up, I don't think him having any connection with the monarchy will affect.
Let's go to Daniel Dodd. Daniel Dodd.
Blessings.
What does our history mean to you?
Miss Johnson, I do get where you're coming from, and I agree. I agree, because you're looking at it and you say, okay, yes, you're still under the regime. Yes, you see the governor, you see the face. But
Governor General.
My apologies. But at the same time,
going on today.
At the same time, you're wondering, okay, what's the real effect? What's the changes that's really happening?
That's happening.
In being present, right? We're not gonna really disregard or count, his responsibilities, but at the same time, you're not seeing that level of change or effect within the country as us as young people would look forward to have.
I think we're upon a break already. I'm going to hold the next question until after the break. But listeners, please stay with us. Very interesting discussion with Dominic Johnson and Daniel Dodd, young Christian adults here in terms of Jamaican independence, what it means to them. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back at the Morning Watch.
Sardine finish up and the making up. Follow the one with pepper, butter the winner. Shop on supermarkets. Everybody say
sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:45 a.m.
remember every dream where you have. Remember everything where you plan. With J-Bank, anything possible. With a little savings in your hand. Save for your plan. Big house, buy the land. What clothes and dreams like a plan. Save for your plan.
Living your best life and making memories is priceless, but saving little by little is what makes it affordable. Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank, we help you find a way.
The report is out.
What report?
The Constitutional Reform Committee's report of recommendations.
Recommendations on what?
On how we move from a monarchy to a republic, of course.
So what's in it?
The creation of the office of president and changes to our parliament. Yes, man. It also includes a new qualification for membership in parliament. I know you want to see that one.
Read the full report at roadtorepublic.nlca.gov.jm.
We are on the road to republic.
Make an impact on your career. Earn real money. Get 3 to 4 local and international certification in practical nursing and early childhood education with free CXC on-cape subjects in 6 to 12 months at Distinction College, located at 26 Hagley Park Road, Kingston, 6 Nugent Street, Spanish Town, and Ocherius. Earn global certificates in 3 months in geriatric nursing, phlebotomy, childcare. We have the lowest school fees around. Classes begin very soon. Call us 356-4167.
It's a holiday and we have nothing to do. We gonna have a good time. With family and friends at Nestle Clean Fun Fest Family Festival. August 1st at Hope Gardens. Bounce, spin, ride, play in the fantastic fun zone. And cool down in our water park. But wait, there's more. Mascot parade, games arcade, fantastic train ride, bingo, and mouth-watering food village. Adults 1,200, children 3 years and over 800, and toddlers free. Fun Fest Family Festival. Thursday, August 1st, Emancipation Day at Hope Garden. It's open at 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come on early. Claim 1 Plus growing up is not a breast milk substitute. It is a milk product suited for babies older than 12 months. Breastfeeding should continue for as long as possible.
75-inch smart TV with sound bars that they get them ruined. Samsung Galaxy smartphone a bird. F24, S24 bird. Just 3 grand price when I get money for splashly. And then I eat in a big money cash.
Get trivia prices of data and credit. Switch to Flow or activate any unlimited prepaid plan. Or pay a yard and road bill on time and in full for chances to win. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch. I'm having a very lively and interesting chat with 2 young Christian adults on the topic, is Jamaica being 62 too old for our young generation to appreciate emancipendence? And the names of our 2 young Christian adults are Dominic Johnson and Daniel Dodd. And moving right into the next question, which I'm going to ask of Mr. Dodd.
Yes, sir.
The next question, sir, is how aware are you of the past, Jamaica's past, prior to 1962, and how it impacts you today, how it impacts your life today? I don't know if you have anything to still indicate or share with us on what you know of the past, how it impacts you today.
All right, cool. So I know a little bit of the past. I won't say I know a lot through school and stuff like that. I know as much, Mr. Marshall. There's something called jackass corn. I don't know if Miss Jansu would know of such things, but I'm a bit familiar with those kind of stuff, and my grandmother would share with me those kind of recipes and stuff like that. But I do have an idea of what the history was like leading up to the independence stage, leading up to the emancipation stage, right? At the same time, how relevant it is for me today, if it's there's effect for me, not so much, not so much. I won't discount it, but at the same time, I don't believe that it's highly revered as it used to be, and it's not a case where, okay, I have daily thoughts of my history.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it regular. No, that's not the case for me. The only time that I personally see it as it being of high relevance, it's during these times. You're reminded of the festivities. You're reminded that these things happen. You have the little things that comes up now and show you that, okay, these are the actual cultural differences that happen during those times.
So, for example, 1834, 1838, 1834, when slavery was abolished, we got emancipation. There were 4 years of apprenticeship, ended in 1838. Things like that. The Morant Bay Rebellion, the what happened in 1938. Where you had where the labor movement was essentially born. Some of these issues are and mileposts of our history. Just inquiring if these are things that you have been brought to your attention, you learned, you were taught, Mr.
Yes, definitely, and I would assume as much that these are basic things that for us as Jamaicans, especially within the school system, these are things that would have been highlighted to us, right? But at the same time, I don't want anybody to get me wrong, no, right? I'm not discounting it. I'm not saying that it's not important. But due to the age that we're in now, the modern time and how things were done, right? It's not it's not a case where it essentially plays a role within our lives
I see.
today, right? In certain matters. But we're still grateful for the rebellion and we're grateful for freedom. Bless the
Lord. Dominic.
Okay, well, of course, we got my social studies teacher. Yeah, you have learned that, and I have obviously no experience in any of those things, no rebellion or anything, but we have managed to bring down a lot of things throughout the years, leading up to independence and after our independence and emancipation, that have been concretized in our history and remain probably one of the main reasons why we are how we are today. I'd like to consider that a rebellion was definitely not one of the other natives of Jamaica's idea about our hardcore African cultural Jamaicans, of course. So I would have been exposed to those highlights. I would have.
Yes, and Daniel Dodd, you made an interesting point about, or it seemed as if you might have been saying that, yes, you acknowledge our past as a country,
yes,
as a people, but it doesn't seem to play that much of a central role in your life at the moment in 2024. I think you made reference to these modern times or words to that effect. Why might that be so? In other words, what is it about 2024 that makes the history, as important as it was, not feel as relevant today? Daniel Dodd.
All right. So from a personal perspective, I believe that due to how things are now within the economy, right? There are a lot of things that people are focusing on, and especially when it comes down to their economic standing, right? As I mentioned, thinking of our history, it's not a daily thought. It's not always the forefront of our minds, and referring to the economic standing, people are thinking about nowadays, how am I going to get by? How am I going to make a living? How am I going to hustle a little money? So the fact of thinking about the history, again, people, we're not discarding it, but it is not the first thing to come to mind, right? The things that the government would have put in play, for example, Grand Gala and stuff like that, the millions of dollars that would have been spent in certain festivities, not discounting them, but at the same time, you're looking at it from a perspective where, okay, could some of these funds be used in a better way to help educate persons, right? Or used towards different initiatives to educate young people about the culture more effectively, right? A lot of people, for example, doesn't even know about their chartered rights, right? So when you're looking at it from that perspective, a young man now go say, all right, cool. I'm gonna take up my money and go watch festivities. When we could I use my money and try, hustle something for gain more money, or you know what I mean? So there's a lot of pressure now within the economy, right? That people now are just really leaning their hearts to. Again, when it comes on to this time, right? People are actually thinking about these kind of stuff. So
Interesting. Although I think the tickets to go to these things are normally distributed free, but I think I know what you're still saying. In other words,
yeah.
you get dressed, go to this event, pay bus fare, taxi fare,
yeah,
go with someone, eat food while you're there, kind of thing. Yes, I understand what you mean, sir. In other words, why would you go to that when you have another priority on your mind, Miss Johnson?
All right, so I think the beautiful thing about having logical conversations is that I am able to agree with the opinion of, in this space, considered my opponent, Mr. Dodd. So I totally agree with him that however we filter our funds or however we choose to filter certain information is necessary for how we plan to give back or give into the generations to come.
Yeah.
However, as it relates to Grand Gala and certain festivities surrounding our independence, I still, as I said, don't discount it. So I'm going
No,
to.
there's a slight distortion in the audio. I'm not sure if are you hearing me clearly at the moment, Dominic?
I can hear you clearly.
Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe it's my end. I'm not sure. Continue to speak. Let us see if it's something that we can address without disturbing what you're saying. Go ahead.
Okay, so right. As it relates to our festivities, I believe it's still very important. I believe that it speaks to just us trying to get into the minds and fostering a certain type of development of love and patriotism in the youths and probably even other persons who have lost some faith and some sort of love for Jamaica. And I completely agree with you, Daniel, as it relates to being an independent country, you would have to at least have managed some sort of sustainability that we could look back on and say, all right, as a country or as an independent country, this is how we go about things, this is how we look at things, we're not depending, which is the whole point of independence, on this specific, country or whatever. However, economic independence and the people's independence are two different things, and I think many a times Jamaicans confuse both. Economic independence is seen right across the board. First world countries, I don't know if you have second world countries, third world countries, whatever rank you want to come in. Economic independence is necessary. Your country is not going to have all resources, and that's just the truth. But as it relates to the people's independence, I strongly agree many a times, and it was famously quoted earlier, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. I think many of us read from the book hearsay too much. We don't have any ownership, we have no own experience, we have no introspectives, and there's just absolutely so much chaos surrounding our independence and our love for people as a people.
Only because of time, we have to leave it there this morning, but very interesting thoughts from the both of you. I want to thank you for this very interesting, and I would even want to say a deep conversation in a very short period of time from two very bright young adults, Dominic Johnson and Daniel Dodd. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts, and maybe we should be speaking again. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again next week as we look at other topical and controversial issues. There'll be no morning watch tomorrow, being Emancipation Day. Visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. And also join us on TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica. Listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to the family station, Love 101 FM, the number one gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. Join Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint next week as he looks at other topical and controversial issues. Have a blessed and safe Independence Day and, of course, Emancipation Day. Emancipation Day being tomorrow. I am Stokeley Marsh and heading back to Love in the Morning with Chakal.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness works to ensure the provision of quality health services and promotes healthy lifestyles and environmental practices for all Jamaicans. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is
8 a.m. and you are now invited